Colin Craig, lotusphotography.ca. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Nikon versus Canon. Something you hear a lot in the photography world is the big toss-up. What should I start with? What should I get? Which is better? Which is better for beginners? Which is better for professionals? A lot of this is really a matter of opinion. Everybody knows that the cameras are very similar. For me, it basically comes down to three different things. First off is the feel. Because they have very similar specifications, a lot of it's feel. So we're talking about in the Nikon and the Canon. So anybody who's ever kind of used either of these, feel-wise, you're going to notice a bit of a difference. The Nikon feels a little bit heavier, a little bit sturdier. The Canon feels a little bit more plasticky, but it is it's like a lighter weight, so it doesn't feel as sturdy. But yet, if you're doing something, if you're taking pictures for 8 hours a day, sometimes that can play a bit of a factor. So that's the difference in that regard. The other thing is navigation. So when I say that, it's going through the menus. Two different styles of navigation through the menus on each of them. And again, it's going to be down to personal preference. Some people like the Nikon a little bit better. There are a little bit more menu settings you have to go through to get what you want, especially on the lower end cameras, where a lot of you guys might be starting off with getting the low end cameras. So there's a little bit more menus to go through. However, there are a little bit few extra options in there. Whereas the Canon, everything seems a little bit more accessible. So if it is something starting out menu-wise, the Canon seems to be a little bit easier in that regards. And then the third one is price. I mean, if you're tossing up, you're not too sure what to go with. For example, myself, I started with Nikon. Very happy with it, no problems. It was great. And then a special deal came out on a Canon system that it basically just couldn't pass up. So taking all those three things into account, when the price comes out and you're not too sure what to go with, I mean, obviously if you can get a higher end camera with a different system and you don't have a specific preference, because that's all it is preference. Usually photographers will have their own state of mind, like, oh, it's Nikon, it's got to be Nikon, or no, Canon's the only thing you should work with, that's the way it is. Obviously when you build up your gear, it's a little bit different because you've invested in so many different types of lenses and flashes and things like that that won't convert over to the other system. But as beginners, which is what these videos are designed for, yeah, either works. I mean, my suggestion is to go to a store like a Henry's or something like that and get a feel for it, get the ability to take a look through the menus, see what's easier to get to for what you're going to need. A lot of you guys are probably starting off shooting just an auto, which is fine to begin with, just to get a feel of the settings and what different menus it has and that sort of thing. But you want to get out of auto as soon as possible, so you want to get very familiar with the menu and the settings. So I'd advise maybe to go to Henry's, something like that, kind of play around with each of them, see which one works better for yourself, see which one you find easier to work with, which one feels good in your hand, because if you're going to be using it a lot, you want something that feels comfortable for you. But other than that, that's the three main things in regards to the two different systems. Really, you can't say that one is very much better than the other. It's not fair to do so. It's completely based on preference. And then if you guys have any further questions about the different systems, this is basic overview. Again, just for you kind of beginners, think of which system to go with. At this stage, just feel what's right for you. Take a look, see which menu system you find the simplest, and then obviously price. So taking those three into consideration, if anybody needs any help with anything, suggestions or anything like that, feel free. Leave any comments below. Or you can do so on the Facebook page. Put a little sort of a link up there, or the Facebook site will be popping up in a second. Other than that, yeah, I hope this kind of give you just a rough overview. I mean, what to take into account between these two systems. Again, not a lot of difference. But yeah, other than that, we'll come out with the next video, depending on how many requests we get for what topic to cover. It's going to be basic items for you beginners out there. So we will speak to you soon. Again, this is Colin from lotusphotography.ca.